Welcome to Bring Your Brilliance. Are you ready to find and amplify your voice? Looking to be inspired by those who are already out there making it happen? Listen in as we shine a light on those who bring their full, authentic selves to do what they love, make no apologies, and don't try to fit into other people's boxes. With your host, Carla Taylor, who, after years of being inspired by the brilliantly shining people she was meeting, decided others need to hear these stories too.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show. I am your host, Carla Taylor. We are here on the Inspired Choices Network. And what better place to be to come and get inspired and make great choices and be brilliant and bring it out to the world. This is exactly what we're doing here this morning. This is one of my success strategies programs. So for you, that means you get to do some learning. And today's topic is how I grew my LinkedIn by 30%. It's actually a little bit more than that now, in 6 months. And a little bit of background about what we're going to be talking about. So first, a couple questions. Do you want to know what you want to be known for, but do you want to be known for what you do? And do you want to grow your personal brand? And the correct answer to that is yes. And I've talked a lot about personal branding and why it matters. We all have a personal brand. You have one, whether you know it or not. It's really what people say about you when you're not in the room. So what do you want them to say? And if they're not saying what you want them to say, then how can you get really deliberate and focused on presenting what it is that you want to be known for? And that's really what I specialize in my business, which is Bring Your Brilliance. I help people to either figure it out themselves. Most people want to start with the Career Happiness Project, so they make sure they're growing the right brand. And if you already know fully what you want to bring and you just need help bringing it, I can give you some tips and tricks for LinkedIn, or I can do it for you. There's a lot of really, really busy, wonderful, amazing people who just don't have time or don't want to spend their mental space figuring out LinkedIn, and so I can take care of that. I have a social media ghostwriting company. That website is bringyourbrilliance.net, and that is a done-for-you. You basically get to have an awesome call with me every week. You get to dump your brain. It's actually a wonderfully cathartic coaching type of process while you're getting all your brilliant thoughts out, and then I make them sound really good and sound like you. So that is one of the services I provided, and one of the ones that people love to do with me is that they don't have to do any work. They literally get to talk to me for an hour a week and get all kinds of awesome content and bite-sized chunks of education and all the different things that I do with helping build a content library on LinkedIn. So let's talk about LinkedIn. First, LinkedIn is the place to be if you do business anywhere in the world. There are over 650 million people on LinkedIn. It is the ultimate business networking platform. So if you're somebody who doesn't love to go out to networking meetings, go to LinkedIn. If you are someone who loves to go to networking meetings, go to LinkedIn. It's another version of connecting with people in human-to-human relationships. So I know a lot of people are intimidated or scared about LinkedIn in particular, or just confused, like, why does anybody get excited about it? So I'm going to be talking a lot more about that. It's been exploding in recent months with new features being added all the time. In fact, I have been on it every single day. I have been studying it almost every single day. I've been studying it for 3 years. And it's still changing so fast and so much, I can't get to it all. And the great news is there's some wonderful new features, and you can find what fits you. You don't have to know them all. The other great news is I grew my content, or my following by 30% without knowing what I was doing, especially at the beginning. And I only got much more focused on a couple of the content creation tools that I wanted to do that worked for me. Really in the last 2 to 3 weeks, and it's been really, really massively growing since then. So I'm having so much fun with it. Content creators are creating posts, articles, videos, infographics, helpful documents, and more. People are growing huge followings, and I mean huge, like even in the hundreds of thousands, and for some people millions, especially the larger influencers. But the great news about that too is that you don't have to be a huge influencer to have a lot of traction and engagement and influence on LinkedIn. Posts are going viral. Like, I was blown away when I first heard that. Okay, I've heard of viral posts on Facebook, viral on Twitter, viral on YouTube, but LinkedIn? Really? Yes, really. People are having millions of views on their videos or on their posts on LinkedIn. It doesn't have to be a video, actually. And I'm going to talk a lot more about that. So it is not just that static resume place where you only go if you're job hunting anymore. If you want to be part of the hashtag LinkedIn fam, which is the family of people who really get it and love it and are part of being in contribution as a content creator, if you want to start creating such a buzz that inbound opportunities are coming to you, this is the Success Strategy Show for you. So listen up, call in with any questions. Let me know if you want any specific help. You can call in at the 1-815-880-8255 number if you're in the U.S. or 1-613-800-8736 in Canada. Would love to hear from you on any of your questions. So let's dive right in. So for me, my background, I actually used to do career coaching, and so I was paying attention a little bit to LinkedIn, but I wasn't looking at it, and it wasn't doing very much. It was kind of just sitting there. In fact, I'm actually going to share a speech I wrote and shared yesterday or 2 days ago at Toastmasters. And it's really my story about LinkedIn and how I grew. So that I'm going to go through that really quick. So you get to hear my Toastmasters speech, and you can also give me feedback on that. But I'm going to indulge myself because I can. So let's start by closing your eyes. So I can't see you since you're not here with me, but go ahead and close your eyes. And then think back to a time in your childhood when you were happy, when you went to your favorite playground and couldn't wait to run around and play with your friends. Now, these might have been friends you already knew, or they might be friends you just hadn't met yet. Remember when you were at that age when you knew all you had to say was, "Will you be my friend?" And you'd have an instant new buddy to play with. Okay, now open your eyes. How did that feel? Now, what if I told you you could feel that same way on LinkedIn? Wait, what? Did you just say LinkedIn? Like the place with the pictures and the resumes where you only go if you're looking for a job? Well, that's right, I did. So LinkedIn was founded in 2002. Since that was the same year my triplets were born, I know for a fact I was doing absolutely nothing on LinkedIn for those first few years. However, for the last many years, I've had a profile on LinkedIn. I'd update it every time I had a job change or a new thing I was doing because I've never really been very good at doing just one thing. But for the most part, I didn't spend any time on LinkedIn, and very few people did back then. Then I became a full-time career coach in 2013, and that's when I really started studying LinkedIn so I could advise my candidates on what they could do and how to use LinkedIn for their best job search options. I learned the best way to write your profile and headline, have a professional picture to be your best while searching for jobs or connections. And I learned it was becoming the norm for people to look at someone's LinkedIn profile before an interview or a business meeting to do a little research on the person they were meeting, and sometimes just to even be able to recognize their face. So I advise everyone at that point to at least have a LinkedIn profile with a picture. So there are a few useful reasons I'd go to LinkedIn several times a week. Then, 3 years ago, I came across a woman named Michaela Alexis, and I've talked about her several times before because she was really somebody who really inspired me at the very beginning. She was a young, pretty blonde in high heels, so a lot of people discounted her or even got really angry at her posts. Most of those people weren't bothering to read what she was writing, but told her that her cute pictures didn't belong on this platform, that LinkedIn was not the place for it. But what caught my eye was not her blonde cuteness, it was her content. Her content was amazing. I was drawn in from the very first post when she started doing an experiment to see if she could get a job solely by posting on LinkedIn, not applying to LinkedIn jobs, not applying to any other jobs, but solely by posting on LinkedIn. She got a job. In 2 weeks, she actually got 23 job offers. And her first post that went viral was called "How I Got a Job on LinkedIn in 2 Weeks." Her second post that went viral was 9 months later and entitled How I Went from Penniless to President in 9 months. She was taking LinkedIn by storm. She was one of the first 50 consistent content creators out of 500 million. Yes, 500 million LinkedIn users, and getting millions of views on those viral posts, which quickly grew her following to 50,000, then 100,000, and now she's at around 150,000 followers. I watched her get all kinds of opportunities, including speaking engagements as far away as Dubai, and her latest was being on a documentary on Amazon called The Social Movement. So in the past 2 years, I started noticing all the ways LinkedIn was changing and growing as a platform. Content creators were popping up everywhere. And recently, even Gary Vaynerchuk, if you've never heard of him, he is wildly popular on many, many other channels. He is got millions and millions and millions of followers on many, many other channels, and now he has jumped in and joined LinkedIn and in massive content creation and has started singing the praises of LinkedIn. And he actually calls it the Wild West, that it's an open opportunity, just like Facebook and Instagram used to be, that it was much easier to go viral there. That's what LinkedIn is right now. We're at the very, very beginning of this curve. So even with all those people joining in, there are still only about, listen to this number, there are only about 1% who are content creators. 1%. That's it. So that's about 3 million out of more than 500 million members. Now is the time to jump in and capitalize on adding your voice at the very beginning of a huge growth curve. And if that weren't enough, 500 million may sound impressive as the number on the platform, but LinkedIn CEO Jeff Weiner has said their goal is 3 billion members across the world. 3 billion members. It is growing, growing, growing. They're investing heavily in growing it. This is the place where you want to be. Have I convinced you yet? All right. Well, I've got a little bit more to share with you, but we are getting ready to go for a break. So I'm going to share a little bit more to convince you even more about why you should care and why you should be on LinkedIn. So again, this is Carla Taylor. You are listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show here on Inspired Choices Network, and we will be right back.
We all have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if you knew how to clearly and confidently communicate your value in a compelling way? Tune in to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor to discover the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to get started and keep growing. Are you ready to make your mark? Learn how to bring your brilliance by listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Are you a subject matter expert? Are you here to share your expertise with an audience waiting to hear from you in only the way you can deliver? Are you ready to have your voice amplified across the airwaves? Inspired Choices Network has a global radio platform streaming to millions of people across the world. Professionally produced and supported by an accomplished team every step of the way, you can broadcast from anywhere in the world, knowing your voice matters, and we ensure it is delivered with ease and efficiency. Eager to hear your message, the world awaits. Contact us today to become an Inspired Choices Network radio host. Email becomeahost@inspiredchoicesnetwork.com.
This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. To join today's conversation, call in the U.S. at 815-880-8255 or Canada at 613-800-8736 or Skype at Inspired Choices Network. Or ask a question or send a comment by email at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Carla Taylor. I am bringing my brilliance and teaching you how to bring your brilliance here on Inspired Choices Network. And today's topic is how I grew my LinkedIn by 30% or something along those lines. Before I jump into that, though, I do want to give a shout out to my amazing producers at Inspired Choices Network. The process here and the way that they produce the shows has been wonderfully, amazingly life-changing for me in order to be a consistent creator of content like I was trying to be. I absolutely love the ability to get my content out the door immediately. And it really is all about taking action and getting your voice out into the world. So whether it is on LinkedIn or anywhere else, you have something amazing to share. You have the brilliance in you, and you need to find what works for you and a way to share it. And if you've ever dreamed of being a radio show host, or even never thought about it but realized you do have a voice and you want to get it out, or maybe you're even struggling with your podcast, which I had initially. I loved podcasting, but I was finding it was really hard for me to sit by myself to do the editing part, and I didn't really know it. And then I'd put that off, and so I'd have all these great interviews, and they'd never make it out the door. So now I've got amazing content going out every single week, and I love it. So thank you. And please, if you're even considering it, check into Inspired Choices Network, because it's a great platform. And I love it. So back to what I was saying about LinkedIn. I am going to share now, there's a group called Aptopia that does some research on the ways people use different things. And their statistics show that there are 260 million monthly users currently. So that's people who are going every single month. 40% of those are using LinkedIn daily. And I love this number, 44% of all users are women. So, in fact, it's changing so fast. Like I said, I can't even keep up, and I'm on there every day, and I'm looking for everything, and I'm incorporating things, but it doesn't matter. If you don't know everything, do what you do know, and that's what I'm helping to hopefully shed a light on and share with you. So here's the truth about LinkedIn in 2019. It's a B2B gold mine. If you are in business of any kind, you need to be on LinkedIn. According to foundationinc.co, it's where most Fortune 500 decision makers and executives like to spend their spare time. That means they're hanging out there. The best part? More often than not, they're actually scrolling through, actively looking for valuable content to read. There isn't the same barrier you need to break down like on other social platforms like Facebook. They're not there to find BuzzFeed quizzes or wedding photos or memes. They are actively looking for content that can change the way they do business. And the best part is people want to do business with people they like. So be real and be you and be likable and be someone that people want to hang around, whether it's online or in person or hiring you to do whatever it is that you can do. That is the secret to personal branding. That's what my whole platform and mantra and everything else, that's why I call myself a personal brand evangelist, because people make it too hard. I was making it too hard for years and years and years. I was coming out of corporate America. I was used to having to be this very buttoned up professional version of myself. And then I was in HR and training, and I was being the champion and the cheerleader of other leaders, and I was helping inspire people. And then I was a tech startup founder, and I was trying to be young and hip and cool and all of these things. But really who I am at my core is I am a champion, a cheerleader, and a connector. And so no matter what else I was doing, I was championing people to find their wins and help them get there. I was cheering people on and rooting for them and helping spread the word and being this advocate for the people I was passionately cheering on. And then I'm a connector. I can't help it. Everywhere I go, I connect people. I can't turn off that part of my brain. As soon as I hear anything that I know I could help with, I do this on the airplane. Like, I do this everywhere. It's just who I am. So rather than fighting that or trying to be something I'm not, I have realized I was making everything way too hard, including and especially LinkedIn. I was so scared and intimidated about what to put out on LinkedIn. I had no idea what to say or do because I didn't even know who I was being at any given moment. And at least in person at a networking event, if I saw somebody who might need career coaching, I could put on my career coaching hat and talk to them about that. And then if I saw somebody who needed help with their training and development, I could talk about my 20 years and master's degree in that area. And I'm somebody who likes to do a lot of things. I've met a lot of people just like me, multifaceted, multi-talented professionals who don't fit into one tiny little box. So how do you possibly have a personal brand? This is how. You be you. Be exactly who you are everywhere you go. What are your key core things that you do no matter what you're doing? Like I said, minor, champion, connector, and cheerleader. What is it for you? And if you need help with that, I can help you. I love doing this work. I love helping bring clarity out of confusion and helping bring people the confidence that they need to be able to clearly communicate their compelling value. And let me just tell you, I am having a ball. I have gotten so clear and confident in what I'm doing. I have gotten so clear and confident on LinkedIn and in person. That's really a big part of it. It's not just being there, but actually being clear and communicating confidently who you are and what you do, but also showing the real you. And I actually just did a post yesterday when I was exhausted and I didn't feel like doing it, and I was doing this 10 tips, 10 days video series, and I was so tired, I actually skipped a day when you're supposed to do it 10 days in a row, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to take the pressure off myself, and I'm just going to be real, and I had a really busy day that day, and I gave my Toastmaster speech and other things, and I didn't do my 7th day on the 7th day. So the next day was yesterday, and I still didn't have any energy. I literally had to cancel my morning and rest because I'm still recovering from surgery, and I was exhausted. But I did it anyway while I was exhausted, and I talked about that. And I am just being extremely who I am, authentic, genuine. And people are responding like crazy. People all around me are responding in ways I've never seen before. So I digress. Back to LinkedIn. So it's a B2B gold mine. People want to do business with people they like. So be human. That's it too. Like, don't start pitching somebody. The worst thing you can do is connect with somebody on LinkedIn and then immediately go into a sales pitch. They will unfollow you or they will immediately not want to do business with you. Hopefully you're not doing that in person. Hopefully when you're in person, you don't just start fire hosing people with everything you do. And if you do, I can help you. You need to stop doing that, and you need to just connect human to human. There's no such thing as B2B or B2C. It's actually H2H, human to human. And I'm really excited to say that phrase because Brian Kramer, who has created the H2H movement and the human to human and said exactly that, that there's no B2B or B2C, it's human to human. He just trademarked that, I think even this week. So super excited about that. Human to human is where it's at. Be a human being, be a likable human being, and you already are a likable human being, so just be you. And you're going to attract the people who like you, and you're going to repel the people who don't like you, just like in real life, and that's okay. And in fact, that's what you want, because you want to know who your tribe is, and you want to be attracting those people who want to be around you, and it's great if those other people don't, because that leaves room for the people who do. So let me give you a few more facts and figures. Business Insider Intelligence tells us that the top 7 stats that marketers need to know about LinkedIn. First, 61 million LinkedIn users are senior level influencers, and 40 million are in decision-making positions. LinkedIn is the number 1 channel that B2B marketers use to distribute content at, hear this number, 94%. 94%. Another huge number, 91% of marketing executives list LinkedIn as a top place to find quality content. They're looking for content, not just profiles or job seekers. In fact, there are 9 billion, that's a big number with a B, 9 billion content impressions on the LinkedIn feed every single week. Huge numbers, people. Of the 10,000 most shared articles in the last 5 years, only 6% were written by influencers, which are those people that you already know that already have huge followings. So that means regular people, regular folks like you and me, are sharing 94% of those most shared articles. There's tons of room and opportunity here. 80% of B2B leads come from LinkedIn versus only 13% on Twitter and only 7% on Facebook. Go to LinkedIn. And LinkedIn generates 3 times more conversions than Twitter or Facebook. So this past Friday, I was thrilled, over the moon thrilled, and honored to be included in a national article called Harnessing the Power of LinkedIn by a top LinkedIn expert named Brian Wallace. Brian is amazing. I did a short interview with him a few months ago. I'm hoping to get him on the show, but he is somebody who is is publishing all sorts of articles and infographics with all of the top magazines, and Fortune and Success and Entrepreneur and Mashable and all of them. So I was just giddy to realize that I was listed in this article alongside these people that I'd been admiring for years. But I also realized when reading that article that there were still so many features I hadn't even heard of or tried using. In fact, I knew nothing about some of the tips that were shared or even some of the facts or figures that I'm now sharing about what's going on with LinkedIn as a marketing platform. So I realized I had so much more to learn. And so that was the perfect thing for me to do my research speech on, which is actually what I'm going through with you right now. And since we have only a few minutes, I can't share everything, but I do want to talk about 5 of the features that I have discovered that I am really going to be diving into or have already just started. So one of the things to do, if you don't, make sure you have a LinkedIn page for your business. This is separate from your personal profile. If you don't have one, create one ASAP. You need to have your logo and a cover photo behind you, and then you can just start posting some helpful information. And even if you don't know what to say, just start sharing some helpful industry content. But start having, at least have your LinkedIn page that you can tag and other people can tag in their posts to start knowing and growing your business visibility. Second, document sharing. Okay, this is super cool. So there's always been this like SlideShare content place where there's a lot of awesomeness going on there. But with the document share, you can now actually attach a document to your post directly on LinkedIn. And when you share it as a PDF, it actually becomes like a slider, so you can slide through. So what I've been doing is I've started doing my Power 3 daily tips, and you can see them and download them directly from my post. And they're just very colorful, bright, 3 pages with a front and back cover of helpful tips. And so that way, not only do I have it in my post, but I also have it as a growing content library and something that people can be downloading valuable content for me. Hashtags. You can follow hashtags on LinkedIn, and you can use your own unique hashtag to tell people how to instantly search for and find your content. So, for example, I'm using that one for my Power 3 daily tips, and I'm also doing a hashtag 90 brilliant days for the last 90 days of, well, I thought this year, and I just realized this decade. We're actually ending a decade, like it's the end of the decade. How did I miss that? So I've actually just started a 90-day challenge. If you want to join in, go to LinkedIn, search me up, or even just search the hashtag 90 brilliant days. You can also search hashtag bring your brilliance to find all the things that I'm posting about. You can also put your hashtags in your comments. So another way to grow, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but if you add comments on other people's things, you can also be followed that way. So moving on to the last 2 features. One is the LinkedIn inbox voice messaging. You could actually leave like a little voice message in somebody's inbox when you directly connect with them. So it's a great way to personally connect and use your voice to convey way more than you can via text. That way you don't have to have their phone number. You can leave a quick personal message to them. It's really awesome, and I'm finding all kinds of ways that I'm using that to connect with people I already know as well as new people. And then you can take it up a notch. The 5th option that I love is video messages. So take it a step further by leaving connections a personalized video of you talking to them in their inbox. And when Michaela left one for me and mentioned my name, it was talking directly to me, thanking me for being one of her biggest supporters, I was absolutely floored and blown away. It so impressed me. So why does it matter to learn any of these things? And how can it benefit you to learn all these new ways for yet another social media platform? I will tell you when we come back from our break. This is Carla Taylor here on Bring Your Brilliance, here on the Inspired Choices Network, and we'll be right back.
We all have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if you knew how to clearly and confidently communicate your value in a compelling way? Tune in to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor to discover the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to get started and keep growing. Are you ready to make your mark? Learn how to bring your brilliance by listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. To join today's conversation, call in the U.S. at 815-880-8255 or Canada at 613-800-8736 or Skype at Inspired Choices Network. Or ask a question or send a comment by email at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back. Again, I'm Carla Taylor. We are here on the Bring Your Brilliance radio show. We are talking all about LinkedIn, and I'm sharing some of the ways that I personally have grown my own LinkedIn following, and it has been an amazing ride. I just have to say, I'm having so much fun. I actually shifted my business about 6 months ago. I've always been the person cheering everyone else on. I've been the coach. I've been the person training others or leading others through transformation and watching them transform their lives and doing all these amazing things and finding their perfect fit. And I thought for a long time my perfect fit was to help others find their fit. I finally found my fit with LinkedIn, I have to say. It has changed my life to understand how I can harness the power of LinkedIn and grow my own visibility and actually put myself out there, which is so scary. I can't even tell you how scared I was when I did my first radio show or when I did my first video on LinkedIn, which was actually last year's video challenge, the 10 tips, it's hashtag 10 tips, 10 days. And I was so scared. I was so scared. I can't even tell you how scared I was to actually get myself out and visible. And I did it. And all it takes is that first step. And then you just keep taking steps. And here I am, a year later from posting more on LinkedIn and 6 months, not quite. It was only July when I started this radio show. So I'm learning, and you learn by doing and taking action. So you can't just think about it and plan for it and prepare for it, but you've got to take the action. You've got to do something to get somewhere new, something you've never done before. So I left off with, why does it matter? Why would you care? How can it benefit you to learn these ways to use yet another social media platform? And here's why. It's exactly what I was just talking about, visibility and opportunities. Even knowing only a small portion of the functionality, like I said, and spending only 6 months really focused at all on growing my network, and for the first 4 to 5 months, not really knowing what I was doing, but just trying to put different things out there and getting more and more confident with each thing I did and each thing that I learned. In the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've been hitting it hard with all of these different pieces of content and ways that I'm putting them out. And only in the last couple of weeks am I exponentially growing. But I've suddenly had opportunities, I'm not kidding you, flooding my inbox. Like amazing, crazy, awesome opportunities. Companies asking me to interview with them with jobs I would have never heard of that are like crazy awesome for even wanting to pay me for what I already do and like mind-blowing stuff. Speaking opportunities, clients asking to work with me, both online and in person, and people wanting to co-create with me, like super cool, awesome people that I used to think I was super intimidated by because there's no way that person would even think I was cool enough to talk to. And here I am. I'm actually flying out to Arizona to meet with one of them who I met recently at a conference, but my life is just exploding with awesomeness. So I am meeting the most incredible people online, which has also given me so much more confidence in person, and people are reaching out to me or walking up to me and saying, hey, you seem awesome. I want to get to know you. Oh my gosh, really? Because that's how I thought about you. So I'm so excited for what's happening on LinkedIn, that people around me are excited too, and they want to learn more, and they want me to help them because they want to be just as excited. New opportunities are suddenly everywhere. I'm happy and excited, like I said, and I'm making new friends everywhere I go. The world feels like a giant playground, and it has become just as easy to find new friends and people to work with as that simple way we once asked, will you be my friend? I'm telling you, It's that easy. When you start showing up as you, when you start being really authentic and genuine and real and not second guessing everything, when you stop being scared and get super brave even for a minute to put something out, your life changes. And that's the other part too, is that this has not been an overnight journey for me. I have been working on myself and growing myself and learning all about myself and my mindset for a really long time, but I was still super stuck because I was afraid to put myself out there. I was afraid to walk the talk. And if you've listened to some of my past episodes, you know that I actually did a talk called Walk the Talk. You can actually look it up on YouTube. It's called Whatever It Takes. And that kind of launched me to putting myself in the spotlight in a really big way. And in that case, I did something I totally had never done before. I had actually auditioned for that speaking series twice and been rejected. 2 times I put myself out there and I got rejected. And I wasn't going to do it a third time. And then some things shifted and I had an opening and it just kept coming up in my head. And I just decided, why not try again, I guess? What do I have to lose? Get rejected a third time? Well, I'm kind of used to that by now. So I thought, but I want a different result. So what can I do that I've never done before? And what have I always been intrigued by or admired? And I've always been pretty good at writing poems, but I used to watch people who'd done spoken word poems, and I thought, oh my goodness, that is so cool. I could never do that. I could never, ever, ever do that. I could never memorize something like that. No way. And I did. I did it. I wrote a spoken word poem. I tried to memorize it for the audition. I didn't have it totally memorized, and I was more nervous than I've ever been in my life. But I made it anyway because they could see what I was doing and what I was going for and knew I'd have time to perfect it. And I messed it up in the dress rehearsal, and I was completely intimidated by everything. And if you watch my video, you'll see how nervous I was on that stage, because normally I speak all the time to groups, but I've never been that nervous in years and years and years. And on the night of the actual show, I nailed every word because I worked so hard. I wanted it that much. I practiced over and over and over and over and over again. It was worth it to me to put my best out there, and that's what launched Bring Your Brilliance and everything that I'm doing now. And I can't even tell you how much fun I'm having. In fact, I declared 2019 to be my year of fun, and I was working so hard for so many years, being a single mom of triplets, being a tech startup founder, being a business owner, having my side hustle to still pay the bills. I was busy. Like, busy is an understatement. I was working 80, 90 hours a week. Granted, a lot of it was fun and things that I was excited about, and I was working for myself, but I was still working all the time. I never went out for fun. I never went out with friends. I never did anything that I really enjoyed outside of work, and work fed me, and I loved it. I was doing my strengths, which is huge, but I wasn't having any downtime. I wasn't relaxing. I wasn't serving myself and honoring what I needed. And so in 2019, I decided I needed to change everything. It started with Walk the Talk. I started making that my mantra for everything, to walk the talk. I've always told everyone else to have downtime and to celebrate their successes and to do all of these things that I actually wasn't doing. And I started doing them, and my whole life has changed. And now I've started doing them publicly on LinkedIn, which was so scary for me. I mean, I grew up in my career in corporate America, and there's certain things you didn't do, and there's certain things that you didn't say, and you had to be completely perfect and buttoned up, and your videos needed to look all perfect and professional, and that's what I was trained to believe. I was so scared to turn on a camera and talk and not even necessarily have great things to say, or so I thought. Like, I just started saying some of the things that I tell my clients and being genuine and talking about the things that I was passionate about. And like I said, I started last year around this time doing a 10 tips, 10 days video series. And then I did nothing for months because I was like, okay, I did that. And that was scary. And I did it for 10 days in a row. And now I'm going to go do some other things. And so I have not been consistent, like I'm telling you, at all on LinkedIn, except until the very last 6 months. And the first 4 months of that, I was just still doing lots of different things and posting different things without consistency. So in the last 2 to 3 weeks, I've started consistently posting the documents. I've started consistently posting some other types of formats, and being out there and also connecting human to human. It really is about being a real person and being who you are. And what really kicked all of this off and got me so jazzed up and got me actually to even have the nerve to have this radio show was a conference I've talked about before. It's called Social Media Week. It's in Lima, Ohio. And I live in Indiana. That's the state next to Ohio. It's 3 hours from my house. I didn't even know Lima, Ohio existed. It's a very small town. But there's a woman there named Jessica Phillips, and she has a huge heart and a huge, huge way. She does relationship marketing with Now Marketing Group. And she models the way. She walks the talk. And she has gathered this tribe of people who now include people like Brian Wallace and Judy Fox and Brian Kramer and all of these huge, big people. Brian Fanzo. For some reason, there's lots of Brians. But there's all of these amazing people who come from all over the country. And even Dr. Ai Zhang, came from Korea to this conference in Ohio. And these are people that have big followings that are huge on different platforms, and especially focused on LinkedIn. And that's where it really was my aha moment that, first of all, LinkedIn was even bigger and greater than I knew. But second of all, every single one of those people that I had been admiring from afar were exactly the same as they were online, in their videos, in person, on the stage. And they were genuinely caring about helping others. Like really, really, truly. I have been to so many conferences, and I have seen so many people who are great speakers, and I'm sure great people, but they kind of hold back, right? You go to a conference and you see these speakers up on the stage, and they either tell you just a little bit to whet your appetite to want to come and learn from them later, or they tell you so much that they overwhelm you so that you want to come and learn from them to help you simplify. But they don't genuinely tell you just the right amount and try to really help you and then become more accessible and walk around the conference with you and not go back to the speaker room or leave the conference as soon as they're done, but actually stay and hang out and make genuine connections. And they're exactly who they are everywhere they go. And I saw person after person after person after person, and I realized I don't have to be someone else. I don't have to be someone else on LinkedIn. I don't have to be someone else at these different networking meetings. I get to show up as me. And I get to be okay and even embrace the fact that there's going to be people who don't like me. But if I am not confidently saying what I have to say and sharing what I have to share, because I'm worried about pleasing everyone or worried about being accepted by everyone, then I'm really not saying anything of much value because I'm too worried about everybody else. So think instead about the people who really, really need to hear from you. And the other thing that I used to be really intimidated by is like, I'm not enough of an expert I can't call myself a LinkedIn expert. I'm not as good as all those people. I haven't been doing it as big or as well as they have. I'm not an expert in this. I've got to go get another certification, or I've got to go get another training, or I can't call myself an expert. But guess what? You are an expert on you, and you know where you've been and how far you've come. So talk to the person who's where you were a year ago or 5 years ago or 10 years ago. You are an expert on how to get from there to where you are now. That's all you need to know, is how to lead people and share your story to help people get inspired. The reason I loved Michaela and her content so much, I still do, is because she's real. She doesn't just share the highlights. She doesn't just share all the awesome trips that she's taking to all these different places. She shares her agoraphobia and how scared she actually is to get up on a stage. She shared her failed audition for a TEDx talk and actually shared the actual video to say, I messed this up and it was what I wanted, and here's my real journey. So be real and be genuine and be you. And we're going to talk a little bit more when we get back. We would love to hear your questions as well, but we've got a little bit left. Right when we get back from break, this is Carla Taylor on Inspired Choices Network with Bring Your Brilliance.
We all have a personal brand. It's what people say about you when you're not in the room. What if you knew how to clearly and confidently communicate your value in a compelling way? Tune in to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. to discover the tools, resources, and inspiration you need to get started and keep growing. Are you ready to make your mark? Learn how to bring your brilliance by listening to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. This is the Bring Your Brilliance radio show with personal branding and LinkedIn strategist Carla Taylor. To join today's conversation, call in the U.S. at 815-880-8255 or Canada at 613-800-8736 or Skype at Inspired Choices Network. Or ask a question or send a comment by email at bringyourbrilliance@gmail.com. Now, back to the program.
Once again, welcome back to the Bring Your Brilliance radio show. I am Carla Taylor here on Inspired Choices Network. We are talking all about LinkedIn, and I'm sharing my story of how I grew my own following by 30%. I've told you a lot of things, but I want to get down to a little bit of nitty-gritty about some of the actual techniques that I use. So I've had a few other shows where I've talked about things to do on LinkedIn, kind of basics of LinkedIn, making sure that you've got a great photo, a very inviting, smiling photo. It shouldn't be an obvious photo of you at a wedding or something else, but something that shows you in your element or just shows your genuine smile, looking right at the camera. Like, just be inviting. Be someone that people see your face and they're like, ooh, I like your face. I want to connect with you. So have a great photo. Make sure it is well lit. Professional is awesome, but you can take your own as long as it's a great photo and well lit of you. Make sure you have a great cover photo behind you. Make sure when you have a cover photo that it also shows up well on your mobile, because most people are on their mobile phones when they're looking at LinkedIn. So be sure to check that with whatever cover photo you have. But the cover photo shouldn't just be a beautiful picture, which of course we all love beautiful pictures, but it should also be something that tells people something more about you. I mean, either something about your business, maybe showing you in action. I know a lot of people who have talked at the TEDx or the TED Talks have them on stage on TED, so immediately people see that credibility factor. So either something of you doing what you do, or you could have it be more like a banner page for what's behind you. But make sure it's not too busy. It should be just a clear, compelling, awesome picture that shows that you're doing awesome things. And you really want to think about your LinkedIn page as a landing page for your business. And this is your personal page that I'm actually talking about. I do also want you to do a business page, but first make sure your personal page is great, and then do your business page, because you need to have your personal page. Remember, you're connecting human to human, person to person. So you need to be this awesome person. You should make sure you have your entire profile filled out. Don't just have the name of the company and nothing more. Talk about your key accomplishments. You don't have to talk about all the different things that you did in your job, but maybe 2 or 3 bullet points of some impact that you had there, or the value that you brought in each of those roles, which can also be helping with your personal branding, so people know your awesomeness. And even if you're something like an accountant or a filing clerk or something that people would know by the name, kind of more what the tasks are, talk about what you did as that, or the clients that you helped, or why your clients loved you in each of those roles. You also have an opportunity underneath your name to have a great headline. And again, I've done some other talks about that, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that, but make sure, if you do nothing else, before you connect with people and before you go out there and start commenting on things, make sure you have a great photo and a great headline. And I would also say the cover photo too. But make sure you have those 2 things, because when you go and comment on other people's posts, that's part of how you grow your following, and that's part of how you get people aware of you, is if you're commenting on some of their favorite people too. Liking it is good, but commenting is way better. And they're going to see your little picture, and they're going to see your headline. So make sure your headline says, not seeking job opportunities, never that, because people want people who are confident and happy, not people who are looking. And there's a lot of people who have made that sound desperate. So don't say you're seeking job opportunities. Say what your awesomeness is. What is your brilliance? Put that in your headline. Why would somebody want to work with you? Because I'm a champion, connector, and cheerleader, and I'm going to do this and this and this, and here's some of the cool projects that I'm working on. That's why so many people are connecting with me when I just go out and even comment or like even what other people are doing. So people are going to see your little picture when you like or do. They actually have all the different reactions now on LinkedIn as well. So you can like, you can applaud, you can think it's awesome. I don't remember what they all are. They're different from Facebook. But there's different ways that you can even respond now to what people are posting on LinkedIn. Play around with those. Those are kind of fun. But make sure you make a comment. And if you're not sure what to say, just say thank you or this was awesome. But try to add value in your comments. You can add a thoughtful comment so that people can start to see that you have thoughts on this topic. And again, that can intrigue people and make them want to connect with you. So not only am I producing my own content and creating my own content library, I am adding value to cheer other people on that I think are doing awesome things on LinkedIn. I'm connecting with them directly one-on-one. Again, I'm being human and I'm building relationships and I'm being very genuine in those relationships. I'm not immediately saying, hey, you look awesome. Can I sell you something? Or I want to connect with you. Let's do something together right now. I just connect and say something about why I'm connecting, and then or even just posting about different things that I think about. And then when we do connect directly, we just say hello and how are you doing? And let's have a real human being conversation. And eventually we might start talking about what we're doing. I mean, that's the goal, right? And eventually we might end up even setting up a 15-minute phone call or leaving each other voice messages in our inboxes back and forth, or the different ways that I've found. Some people, one guy I'm actually doing sending GIFs, I don't know, there's a jury's out how to say that, but have fun. Have fun. Treat it like a playground. Treat it like you're making new friends and doing fun things. And then people want to start doing awesome things with you. So don't be super intense. Don't be super scared. Just get out there and have fun with it. Yes, people are going to see the content, but if you don't do anything to promote it, it's going to go by and then it'll be gone. And then you can put something else out. So it's not going to last forever unless you hashtag it and do all these things and find ways to make it last forever and put it in your content library. And that way it actually does. But also, don't be a jerk. Like, never, ever say anything jerky to somebody. It's not even like Facebook. You can say something and then nobody ever really knows that you did it unless they see that post. That is not true. When you're on LinkedIn and you click even a like on somebody else or a comment, people will see that even when they look to follow your activity. That part follows you. So be nice, which I shouldn't have to say, but some people think it's okay to tear people down, and don't be one of those people, and certainly don't be that on LinkedIn. So when I say be you, I don't mean be a jerk. I mean be the awesome part of you. And that's something that I can help with too. If you need some transformation in your life, or if you just need to know who am I and what do I really want to say about my personal brand before I get out there in a big way, I have the Career Happiness Project, or I can work with you one-on-one. And I also, like I said, I have this social media ghostwriting service. So if you don't know what to say, but you want to get out there bigger, talk to me and I'll create it for you. I've worked for years with subject matter experts. I've created all sorts of training. That's what my master's degree is in. I love taking a whole big brain dump of information and making it into bite-sized, really actionable chunks of educational content that people can really use. So I do that with my clients, and I'm happy to do that with you. So there's lots and lots and lots of ways that you can engage and you can get yourself out there. And don't worry if you don't know everything. Start with one thing. Start with maybe posting more, or just commenting on other people's posts, or sharing things that you like and interesting articles. But be of value. Add value to people. Don't talk about yourself as, here's why I'm great, but say, here's how I can contribute. Here's what you can count on me for. Here's what I can share and add to the conversation to help you. That's how you want to focus, and that's where you want to be. So, like I said, follow me on LinkedIn. Definitely connect with me on LinkedIn. I will connect with you back. It's Carla Taylor. Carla J. Taylor is my actual URL at the end. Follow hashtag 90 Brilliant Days if you want to join in to my last 90 days of finishing strong here at the end of the decade. Oh my goodness, it's the end of the decade. I didn't even know that until yesterday. I was thinking just end of the year, but it's the end of the decade. So go out there and be bold and be you and be brilliant and take action. Go out there and just get started and start where you are, because you are awesome.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Bring Your Brilliance with Carla Taylor. For the latest updates and info on personal branding, please follow and interact with Carla Taylor on LinkedIn. And be sure to visit www.itstimetoBringIt.com. Join Carla Taylor every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, 8 a.m. Mountain, and 7 a.m. Pacific on